From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
Hey there, the name's Nukem, Duke Nukem, and you're watching the Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast. For some unknown reason, enjoy.
What's going on, nerds? And welcome to this week's episode of the Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast. Rob is being an X-Men Half-Lifer. Well, that's DX.
Wow, that's X-Force.
Well, they're all dead. They all died. There's
He's
not many
dead.
of them left. Actually, I think Deadpool was the only... Well, he goes back in times and I guess saves them all, so...
No, he only saves Ron.
Oh, he only saves Peter?
Oh, yeah, Peter. He only saves Peter. He's the only one who tells him to walk away.
So what's up, peoples? How you doing, Suze?
Doing good. How are you doing?
After a very stressful day at work, I am happy to be home talking to you wonderful people about X-Men Days of Future Past.
So here's my question for you, AJ.
Ah, crap. I wasn't prepared. I didn't do the homework. I mean, I did the homework. Just whatever you're going to ask, I didn't do the work for it.
I'm aware that you didn't do the work for it because it's going to probably be me or Rob that's going to send you into a tizzy. Are you ready to have abs?
Yes! I am ready! I am clenched! I have... Oh, that hurt.
Did you make an Emma?
No, but whatever was down there just got sucked in.
Get it? Diamond, Emma, Frost.
I got it.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, before we get into all the fun stuff talking about Days of Future Past, hit that like button, subscribe, follow, do all that wonderful stuff if you want to hear anything from the Nerds Do Nerd Things podcast, whether it's us talking about nerd stuff or on Sundays or possibly Wednesdays, depending on what day we can do it, the wrestling show, the Wrestling with Nerds podcast. It's all in the same feed. But we are talking about X-Men Days of Future Past from 2014. It made $746 million on a $200 million budget. Lots and lots of money. Lots of money. They brought Bryan Singer in to direct this. That's different from Matthew Vaughn from First Class. Matthew Vaughn stayed in as a writer, and it looks like producer as well. So they still have some of the old guard into this new movie, but this is very much a full Bryan Singer movie. It was actually released May 23rd, 2014. 2 weeks sooner, if you were at the Javits Center, whatever they were doing there, they showed it. So I guess they had a film festival or a Marvel film show or what have you. Maybe it was D23, who knows? But let's get right into the movie that has everybody in it. And we're not talking about the Rogue cut, because I didn't know there was a Rogue cut.
There is a Rogue cut.
Didn't know that existed. Very upset at myself that I did not see the Rogue cut, which added about 17 minutes of extra content featuring Rogue.
And it sparked a lot of controversy when everybody found out that there was a Rogue cut.
Yeah. I mean, I can see it now because I wish I knew. I would have watched it. I like the extended cuts.
Those that have seen the Rogue cut have said that it's actually better than without it.
Well, yeah, I would assume so. Why would you add stuff if it was gonna hurt the film?
Well, because I think the director more wanted to focus on Mystique without the added element of Rogue.
Okay, I could see that.
And as I'm watching the movie, I felt like it was missing something. So, like, I didn't feel like I felt like the story was whole. Like it played well, it moved well, but I felt like it was missing like an element. And like you couldn't really see it until you know that there's missing footage, and then you're like, well, I can see where this would all be put in.
Yeah, but for the most part, for the base theatrical cut, it's shot well, it's cut well.
Yeah.
You don't notice it completely. There are holes where that footage obviously was, but
I'm just
they do a good job with hiding it, I guess, is what I
poor
want.
Anna Paquin. She shot so much, and then she got almost basically erased.
Yeah, that's the thing. Wait, you were in that movie? Where? All the stuff you didn't see.
Well, she's
No,
in
she was
5
in there.
seconds at the end.
Oh,
5
right at the
seconds.
end. Yeah, that's right. So this brings back the normal suspects, including old Professor X and Magneto and young Professor X and Magneto. Hugh Jackman, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, Halle Berry, Ian McKellen, Peter freaking Dinklage, and Patrick Stewart.
As Trask.
Oh, which this is the aspect of if you are going to get somebody, go for acting ability and who can bring the best to the role. Who cares if he looks like the actor? Because obviously he's not. Trask is tall.
No, here's the thing. The face, Peter Dinklage is all Boulevard Trask. He looks just like the guy.
Just about 2.5 feet shorter. 3 feet shorter.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. You could do whatever. Go for the best
And
actor or actress for that role.
They had a chance to do something with it though, and they kind of did. They passed a shot at him for being short and talking about mutants. But it only got like one line.
So, question for you guys. This movie takes place in 2023. Did you guys know that Central Park was turned into a camp for mutants? It was new to me. It was very
No,
new
it's
to
just
me.
for the homeless.
You know, there was a train of thought there. Rob just said flush.
I'm going to interrupt your train of thought further because I have a question.
Yes.
And it's a question my husband actually brought up.
Okay.
So this takes place in 2023. We travel back to 1973. During this time is the Vietnam War. Now, do you feel like this movie was meant to reboot the series? Or do you feel like it was meant to how did you phrase it? Close the gap or something?
Fix the timeline.
Yeah, fix the timeline.
I think that's exactly what they did. I think they retconned a bunch of things and just merged both universes together into one singular avenue.
So Will had I'm speaking for Will like he's not here, and I'm sorry. You can speak up at any time. Feel free.
Okay.
But we were talking about it with James and Megan, and Will made a very interesting point of if this takes place in 2023.
Yes.
His timeline after X1, X2, X3. Where does Logan awaken? Does he awaken in 2023? And if he does, then that completely retcons at least X3, where we lose Jean Grey and Scott Summers. So that's why I asked the question, do you feel like this is a reboot to the series, or do you feel like this was just a fixed timeline? But if it was just a fixed timeline, would X1, 2, and 3 still happen?
So I don't think he goes to sleep in 2023. I don't think that's where he wakes up. I still think he wakes up before X1, X2, X3.
So where do you think he wakes up?
Before X1, X2, X3.
See, he can't wake up before X1. You want to know why?
Why?
Rogue is there. He finds Rogue in X1. That's why I said this doesn't make sense.
So basically how anybody has pretty much kind of figured this out is the end scene of Days of Future Past is the new future. Is the new where they were when Logan was sent back. But because none of that happened now, none of the Sentinel thing happened, the school is still together and everything. Basically, what is happening is now like Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix and stuff are the events leading up to this new future. And then apparently Logan is apparently, for all we know, Logan doesn't take place in the regular X-Men verse. Because we know Logan happens because thanks to a recenter movie, we now know that Logan takes place in the same universe as Deadpool. But we only know just Logan. Because like Colossus, Negasonic Teenage Warhand, Yukio, they don't show up in any of the other X-Men things. So all we know, Logan is different verse.
So
Colossus actually shows up in Days of Future Past.
yeah, he is in the beginning of it.
Oh, he does. Yeah, you're right.
He
You're
is
right.
in
He
Days of
does
Future
show
Past.
up.
Picture the
For
TVA
all we
when
know, Logan could be different verse.
and I'm just speaking out of my ass. Somebody correct me at any time. Picture the TVA when something changes. You see that branch. Could this Sentinel thing be a branch off of that timeline? Just using Loki as a
The way, because when Will and I were talking, the way I thought about it is that it's not a separate branch. I feel like X1 and X2 happen. I don't feel like X3 happens.
okay.
I think X3 was kind of nixed.
Well, that was the bad one.
That was the bad one. I
Sorry, people, if you like X3.
but I feel like, and I mean, I could be wrong. X1 and X2 might not have happened. But I mean, I didn't see Dark Phoenix, so I'm totally speaking out of my ass. Somebody feel free to correct me, but I feel like Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix are leading up to X1 and X2. But I think there's events that change for X2 so that by the time X2 happens, we still have Jean Grey.
So CT Chimchar in the YouTube chat goes, God, X-Men lore hurts my brain.
It is like the Fox X-Men movies made sense up until Days of Future Past.
And then James goes, because I'm guessing it's based off of my comment. I was like, at least they got rid of the bad one. He goes, hey, you're not wrong. And then Chimchar comes back with, we got to axe the bad one. So obviously we're still going to review it on the channel in a couple weeks. But
yeah, I'm going to keep it in my happy place where we nix the, like, I feel like we changed the ending of X2. So then X3 is nixed and goes bye-bye.
Which
doesn't happen.
We're still going to talk about it, obviously, but we're just talking about the timeline.
I'm going off of the kind of assumption that, like, it's like Apocalypse. So, like, from here, it's like Apocalypse, then Dark Phoenix. I feel like X1 still happens, but I don't think X2 or 3 happen.
I think if X2 happens, it's a different ending.
X1 didn't happen. X1 didn't happen. I'm just saying that right now because Magneto knows everything he would have done.
You're right.
And he knows he failed in that
Magneto
one.
Magneto in Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix actually knows about everything. I can't remember
that
how he
plane
found
trip,
out. I think Apocalypse showed him.
That or, during the entire plane trip to Paris, Logan just tells him.
Yeah, because Magneto does go on the side of good at the end of Apocalypse. I don't know if he stays that in Dark Phoenix because I haven't seen Dark Phoenix. But
no, it's gonna be my first time watching Dark Phoenix as well.
It's gonna be my first. But even setting
it sounds like we need to do a movie night.
Magneto's always an adversary of the X-Men. I'm not talking about the most. I'm currently watching X-Men '97, and I'm having issues.
It's okay. Enjoy
I
those
feel like
issues.
it's been an adversary, but then my question would be: is how does Rogue get to the mansion?
Easy. Professor X knows everything Logan knows. He was in his mind.
Yeah.
He knows what all of his students were going to be before they were going to be his students.
He also told
He's all
Logan told Professor X back when he was young, go through my head. You will see everything that is about to happen.
and this is the most important bit, he becomes Professor X again way earlier than he would in the normal timeline. 10 years ahead of time. He is an active professor much earlier. And mutants are much more well known at that point because the secret got blown. They were
Apparently
seen
Jessica said
on
Dark
public
Phoenix
television.
was amazing. I don't remember ever seeing it.
So all of the X movies can't really have happened
Hey Will, you have your
because
phone on
there's
you?
no Masquerade.
Okay, check it in a second.
There's no
Continue.
real Masquerade at that point. So they're much more easy to find. The mutants
Also-
know where to go.
Also, to that point, and this is, unfortunately, this is a little bit of. Thank you for singing. Professor Xavier knew when all the mutants were and when they would come about, but I also feel like he would let them come to him in their own time, rather than seeking them out.
Well,
Which
to-
is what he
He
does.
was
in first
seeking them
class.
out.
for waiting for them to come to him versus him going to them.
No, I completely disagree with that because Professor X is always shown looking for mutants who are in trouble.
See, I never see that aspect of Professor X.
I see it as like both of you guys, like in the middle. Like I've noticed when I see Professor like Xavier, he'll find them and like extend a hand. Here you go. Here's this.
Yeah.
If you want to come. And then he lets them come to him fully on their own, but he does reach the hand out first.
But
I see it as in the middle of
yeah,
you guys.
but also to that point, Rogue, like for
Wow.
him to take that experience away from Rogue, it makes her who she is. So like there's a double-edged sword with him knowing everything that's going to happen in the future. Because it's not, now that you've changed the timeline, it's not going to happen the same way. So yeah, X1 and X2 might not have happened, but there is some semblance of them there.
Rob, you have a better memory than me. I'm diverging us real quick. Do you remember our freaking Isekai panel that you guys took
Yes.
over? So when AJ's referring to CT Timchar, it was the person who was up on stage. You go, God, what was his?
Can you stop yelling in my
He was-
His name was Robert.
Yes, he was such a cool guy. I loved him.
Okay.
That's how I know his name.
Um,
His name is my name too.
No, because I mean we can go in circles about this, but like to that, like to everyone's point, like yes, he knew what was going to happen because he read Logan's mind, but also they've changed circumstances leading up to X1, X2. I don't think Professor X is, yes, he's actively looking for mutants, but he's also not, because he has a school to run. So it's a little bit of a double-edged of how far do I go before I completely change what is meant to happen.
Well, you saw how many students were in there. That place was loaded.
Oh
So
yeah.
it was probably never attacked like it was in X2.
No, and that's why I don't think X2 happened, but I think some semblance of Rogue running away, like there's some elements that happen from each of the movies. I'm not saying the whole
Yeah.
movie happened.
I'm getting this
The
feeling.
inciting ones.
I'm getting this feeling like
Yeah.
they did Days of Future Past to just, we want to take that, we want to take that. That's gonna be canon now. That's canon now.
See, how I kind of view the timeline is like I don't think like X1, 2, and 3 are actually retconned. Like how it kind of makes it appear as on a surface level. Because there's so many people, there are multiple people who remember and know, and like Logan himself still experienced all of that. So I feel like it's more, the timeline is more linear than we would actually think.
We also have a very big point that that I need to point out, is that Mystique was the one that picked up Logan from the river. He never got his adamantium in him, which is why he's the professor of history. Because if you didn't know, Logan was born in like the 1700s.
So just to that point, we actually don't know whether he got the adamantium or not, because yes, she was portraying as Stryker, but that doesn't mean that at some point Stryker doesn't insert the adamantium in him.
We actually do. But it's not this movie.
What movie?
Apocalypse actually shows like Jubilee and all of them
Oh
actually
yeah,
assisting Logan breaking out of the facility.
yeah, butt ass naked.
Right.
After he got the adamantium.
That's
I
what-
remember
That was
now.
Wolverine's ass.
You were kind of.
Oh, okay. I was saying that we didn't know, but we did know. And
Yes,
Actually,
that's what I was saying.
Wolverine's
Actually,
Canadian, so
that's-
that was
no.
Canada's ass. So let's
I
actually
was going
get
off of Days of Future Past. I forgot about that.
let's actually get into this
Yeah,
movie.
into the movie.
But first, above Susie and Will's camera angle is our wonderful cover art that was updated once again by our very good friend and awesome artist who is taking commissions on his Instagram. It's Mr. James Fair. Check him out.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for not putting me below you this time.
I learned. Rob's now below me. Why did it make it sound like I told him to? Never mind. Brain fart. Yeah, so this takes place in 2023. They are on the run from Sentinels that take mutants, take their powers, learn them, and use them against other mutants. They literally did what Magneto didn't want to happen, is get mutant powers used against mutants. So they are basically on the run for, it looks like, a while. And Rob, help me out here with names. Who do they send back to let everybody know?
Bishop.
Is it Bishop?
It's Bishop, and their Watcher was Hawkeye. I forget his name. The guy with the tattoo across his eyes.
I can't think of his name.
Yeah, they say it like once.
They don't say it like ever.
Like, I know Blink. I don't know this guy's name. I know Sunspot. I don't know this guy's name.
No,
don't
it's
know.
not that one. Do you want to be a part of it? I can grab a chair. Okay. I'm trying to coerce Jessica to join the podcast again. They all say hi, by the way. Okay. Are you watching? Oh, okay. I was like, that's weird. But yeah,
It's Blink.
and you'll miss it?
Wait, no. Blink was the one with the teleporting powers, not the far-seeing.
Not the what?
The far-seeing.
They didn't have anybody with far seeing.
So who was the guy who detected them 10 miles out?
Oh, okay. Now I know who you're looking for.
The guy with the power of farsight.
I wouldn't have called it the power of Farsight, but now I know who you're looking for. Give me a second.
But basically, they're on the run because Mystique killed Trask in 1973, and they captured Mystique, took her blood, took basically everything from her. They used her completely up to make these Sentinels, and boom, that's how it started, with mutants killing mutants. Rob, in the comics, because you probably can remember better than I am, did it escalate to not just killing mutants to then killing people, like, say, your grandkid, if he has a mutant gene? It'll just off you instead.
Yes,
Did that happen in the comic book too?
it was a massive eugenics purge.
Shoot.
They never really went into it because, you know, there was the comic code back then that you had to follow. You couldn't
Yes.
really go into like genocide, hence where we got Silver Age Joker. But they did say that, you know, a lot of the mutants were gone, and anyone who helped them were also gone, and anyone who had the possibility of having those genes in them were gone.
So we already.
And here's the thing: there was a reason for it in the comics that was stupid, and that was there was a sentient virus that could only infect regular humans, and mutants were immune, so it wanted to get rid of the immune cases.
Rob,
So yeah,
was it Warpath?
was his name Warpath?
I think his name was Warpath because he's the only one in there that I don't recognize, that I can't identify his powers. And I just looked it up, and his senses,
Yeah,
particularly sight, sound, hearing,
it's
are
Warpath.
next levels beyond the capabilities of a normal human.
Yeah.
I just had to see
Yeah.
his photo. It's Warpath.
I
Yeah.
had to see his photo, and I was like, let me just double check myself before I.
So one of there's a sentient virus that's controlling people, but not like a lot. It's just sort of nudging them. So if you were for mutants, you were sort of neutral. If you didn't like mutants, you became absolutely hateful of them. It just nudged you away from them if you were a normal person. I think they retconned that with one other story. I don't remember which.
So
But in this one, it's just people hating other people.
let's get into, like, as we were talking about the story and what's happening. Rob, what did you think of how they adapted Days of Future Past from the comic, from the TV animated series into this live action movie?
I liked it. They did miss out on a few chances with some characters. They did not put in Master Mold. And if you didn't know, Master Mold was the original Sentinel. He was the first one that Boulevard Trask made that gained sentience and rebelled against its creator. And it was designed to kill mutants. That could have been the big bad rather than Magneto, effectively. Or Mystique.
I
Well,
feel like Mystique is that guy, but yeah.
We'll get to that, but Suze, what was your thoughts on how the story came about?
So, I think the story was really interesting. I don't know how I feel about Kitty Pryde having the ability to send a mind back in time. I
There's
feel
a
like
mutant that can.
it's not Kitty Pryde, right? I'm not crazy.
It's Tanya Trask, Boulevard's daughter.
Thank you.
You are crazy, but no, you're right.
Like,
Tanya Trask has the ability to have mental powers like that and time travel. They could have just adapted her to have the time travel and tell them, hey, Boulevard Trask, bad guy, stop him.
Him.
so we just use Kitty Pryde. Okay.
So
Makes no sense to me.
one thing that bothered
That
me
was
about
that was the only part that bothered me, is that Kitty Pryde, who goes through walls, could send minds back. I was like, that's a little weird. That's not a Kitty Pryde thing.
so they had Wolverine go back, has to talk to Professor X, has to get him on board. Then they go get Magneto on board after they get Quicksilver. Thank you. It was there. It was there. But now Magneto's involved, which I figured everybody was on board. This was going to work out fine. If anybody's going to get to Mystique and get her to, not kill Peter Dinklage, it would be him. But come to find out, he's there to execute Mystique. All they had to do was get her to not kill him.
Can you imagine what the future would have been by killing Mystique?
I don't know. That was actually going to be a question, but I probably worse because then the body's already there, and that's what they really needed.
Not spill it out.
I could only imagine because there was a plot line in which Nightcrawler was asked to become Pope. And I can only imagine, Your Eminence, I'm so glad you're finally representing mutant kind. By the way, I killed your mother. Can we discuss a few things? Why are you
Yeah.
angry?
Right?
X-Men comics can be weird, man.
But good weird, right? Or just weird.
I mean, he didn't become Pope, but it was still a thing that the diocese was thinking about doing.
So, with all that going on, what do you think? Kind of what Susie just asked. Why did Eric have that change of, hey, just kill Mystique. Let's just off Raven / Jennifer Lawrence, or what? Why not just stop her from killing Trask? What do you think was that motivation in that? Whether it's comic books, the movie, I just found it very intriguing that, hey, instead of her killing him, let's just kill her and still give them what they want. Because
at
while
the time, Magneto was always kill happy. I basically his entire motive up until that point or technique was to kill the problem.
yeah, well, he was about to kill the president. He was about
he was about to kill the president, his leading generals, and his Secret Service.
And the cabinet. Which was wild because they just dropped RFK Stadium right around the White House while they were showing off the Sentinels. And I was like, here we go.
That was awesome.
It was awesome. I feel bad for Wolverine. I kind of thought they were going to kill him. Like, straight up. You can have all that regenerating power all you want. It's that guy. You can have all that regenerating power, but I still don't think he can breathe underwater.
No, he can't breathe underwater, as proven by the mouthfuls of water he spit out.
But it was he was under there a while, so I don't. Was that part of his other body not being in water? How did that come apart? Like, why did he last so long submerged? Yeah, but he still needs air.
No, he doesn't need air. His big problem was it incapacitated him. It didn't kill him. His regeneration was keeping him alive.
Okay.
It's just he didn't have the power to move because he had rebar stuck throughout his entire body.
Oh, that was gross. Just watching it snake in and out of his body. Yeek.
Yeah, so all of his like tendons and stuff were broken, and they couldn't heal back together because his body couldn't physically push it out of him. That's why he couldn't move.
So, what else do you guys want to hit on? Because Trask, who's the bad guy in this movie? Is it Trask or is it Magneto?
The antagonist is definitely Mystique. Because without her, there is no problem.
Yeah,
if Trask had just if Trask just lived, he would have created regular Sentinels, and you would have been able to deal with them just fine.
Well,
and they
know
would have realized
why.
it would have been a massive cost sink.
We know why Mystique is going after Trask, because he had Angel killed.
Mutants.
He had
Angel.
Oh crap! What's the Nightcrawler's father?
Azazel.
Azazel killed. So she's out for revenge there. That was her motivation on that. But overall, I love this movie. I thought it was great. I thought everybody kicked it out of the park. It was for me, I know we just had this long ass conversation of what did it do to the timeline, which now I'm not quite sure.
Welcome to the discussions that I have with Will when we're talking about movies.
Like
We
I
haven't
was
gotten into it
set.
yet.
I was set. I was like, I know how this works. It was great. It was a basic refresh, restart. We're good. And then I hit the go live button, and all that just happened.
So I've got a question for the masses, and only because I know that Will's not a Will. Are you X-Men fan? Yes, no, not really.
Not.
So those
I'm a
of us who
Wolverine
grew up
fan.
X-Men, particularly the 97 X-Men. Okay. Now we all know what the Sentinels look like in that cartoon. Correct? Y'all with me?
Yeah. It's literally James's photo.
Can we talk about how the Sentinels in this movie looked like the Thor machinery that attacks him
Yes.
when Loki's to him?
Yeah,
Can we please
almost identical.
Yeah, can we please acknowledge the fact that I was looking forward to seeing the gross, ugly, humanoid-looking Sentinels, and instead I got Thor.
Yeah, with the Decimator armor.
Yeah.
I was upset. That was I think that was a big letdown for me in the movie. Like that was a big like don't be wrong. Love the movie. Would definitely watch it again, as pointed by the fact that I watched it again on Monday. But that was a huge letdown for me that they didn't upkeep a design that has been in so many iterations of Sentinel.
Like, I don't know if it came out then, but in the comic books, there was an updated design for the Sentinels that they could have used.
Yeah, I mean, even that updated design though would have been so much better than what they did.
Yeah, but the updated design isn't a complete change like we had in this movie. It was same concept, just different slight variation of it.
Yeah. This was just
I can't unsee it
was-
now. I literally can't unsee it now, and it's bothering me. How dare you?
You're welcome.
Yeah.
The one thing I wish we had more of, and I don't know if it takes away from it, is I wish we had more present time. I know the movie is supposed to be in the past, but I wish we had more 2023 time. Because we get Halle Berry for 5 minutes in the movie. Shawn Ashmore we only see for maybe 5 minutes in the movie.
We see Shawn Ashmore for way longer than we see Halle Berry.
Well, yeah. Which, come to find out, the reason why Halle Berry had such a small role, she was pregnant during the filming of this movie.
Yep.
Apparently, she was supposed to have a bigger role. I was very unaware of until doing research for the show tonight. Because, ow. I just like to hurt myself with knowledge. But what else do you guys have for this? Because this is my second favorite X-Men movie. This one.
Locking it in?
Oh, it's yes. I
Yes?
am 100% locking it in.
Okay. The only thing, and I don't know if anybody else noticed, or maybe it was all in my head, but with
Probably
the
all in your
Sentinel, it looked like they were adapting to the mutant that they were fighting.
Well, that's what that's how they killed
I
the Frost dude, where they're using the fire guy to kill the Frost.
Yeah, but
dude.
it was more like they were absorbing powers than it was they were.
Picture these Sentinels as the Sword of Gryffindor. It takes everything in, and just
Yeah. It was mimicking. It's kind of like they had Rogue's ability to just
That's
touch and use the power.
Yeah.
But they're not draining the power. They're
right.
they're getting a sample of it as they're touching them, and that is transmitted to all of them, so that
That's
they can all use it.
yeah. So I wasn't like that's what I was getting. Like that was the feel I was getting is that they weren't draining, but they were getting like a piece, like a fragment of the power
Mm.
and using it, which made me wonder what Rogue's edition is because now I want to go watch it.
Is it on Disney Plus? Is the other edition on Disney Plus? Because I don't think
I
it
didn't
is.
see it. I didn't see it when I was watching earlier.
Okay.
I'm now checking because now you've made me curious.
We are doing X-Men Apocalypse next.
Yes.
Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse.
Which we also get to meet Jean Grey, Scott Summers, Storm. Yeah, Storm for the first time.
Angel.
And
I believe
Angel.
he's in this one.
So
You change your
we
password.
go from one of my favorites to one that spoiler alert is meh for me, which we'll talk about next week when I completely dive headfirst into it. Chat, what are your thoughts on Days of Future Past? Did you like it? Was the comic Rob, was the comic book better? Or is that hard to judge?
That's hard to judge. I like the original run of it. The original introduction of Boulevard Trask, because after he realizes what he's done, he is almost instantly remorseful, and he goes back on it. He tries to undo it. He views it as a mistake, and again, he has a kid. He has two kids, as a matter of fact. Both of them have mutant powers, and he gives one of them an amulet to hide their powers. His power, one of his son has the power of precognition.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's actually really powerful too with it.
See.
But the character of Boulevard Trask in the comic books, I prefer him more, but I do appreciate Peter Dinklage being the one to portray him.
Oh, masterful job.
Yeah. So
AJ?
as a means to soft reboot things, I do prefer it over the comic books,
Okay.
because comic book reboots can be very messy.
What do you got, Suze?
You have X-Men Origins Wolverine listed next.
Do I really? I do! I'm sorry. X-Men Origins Wolverine. That pile of shit.
Wait,
Here's
should
my
that one be
question.
next?
Here's my question: how is that one next? That doesn't make sense.
I was just going off of what Collider was telling me.
No, but
'Cause
now
Dark Phoenix has him being, Dark Phoenix has him coming out.
because if he's in a
Hold on. We're looking at it. IGN,
Especially if
watching chronological order.
I mean, I guess it makes
First
sense
class,
because
Days of
he
Future
gets
Past.
the
Yeah,
adamantium
X-Men
in.
Origins Wolverine.
He gets the
This is from
adamantium in
IGN, and then it's
Wolverine.
X-Men Apocalypse. Oh, apparently my headset died. Yeah, so, and this is going off of IGN. So, Future
Okay.
Past, X-Men Origins Wolverine, X-Men Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix, X-Men, X-Men United, Last Stand, then The Wolverine, Deadpool, Deadpool 2, New Mutants, which, not looking forward to that, and Logan, and then Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, so we'll do X-Men Origins Wolverine next.
Yeah. Is this the one where they sew his mouth shut?
Yes.
Yeah. We don't
Yes.
talk about Baraka Pool.
No, we do talk about it. The reason we talk about it is because there are jokes of it in an upcoming movie.
Oh, looking at the Green Lantern skit or script. Just blood everywhere.
Oh, that grilled cheese is attacking me.
Okay, so I guess that's a good time to hit the end stream button. But thank you everybody for joining us. Hit that like button, subscribe, continue to comment in the comment sections. We'll go back and read them. We'll comment back. But glad to have you all here. We'll see you, at least I will see you guys Sunday for July's 1997 WWF vs. WCW. So be there for that. But if not, X-Men Origins Wolverine next Thursday. Y'all have a good one. Stay safe and deuces.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.